My name doesn't matter. What matters is what happened on that construction site in Bulacan 11 months ago, and why I will never take another night shift again as long as I live. I was 23, broke, hungry for overtime pay. The foreman's name was Mang Ramon, 60 years old, sun-cracked skin, a voice like gravel dragged across concrete. On my first night shift, before we even touched our tools, he pulled me aside. "Anak," he said. "3 rules. Never whistle after dark. Always say tabi-tabi po before you dig near that tree line. And if you hear someone call your name twice, never answer on the second call." I laughed. I actually laughed in his face. He didn't laugh back. The other workers wouldn't meet my eyes. One of them, an older man named Mang Boy, just shook his head and went back to mixing cement like I hadn't said anything at all. That should have told me everything. The site sat at the edge of a sugarcane field, half cleared, with one massive Balete tree still standing near the back fence. Nobody had cut it down. I asked why. Mang Boy told me the tree had been there since before the subdivision was even planned, and the surveyors had quietly moved the entire foundation line 11 meters just to avoid it. 11 meters for a tree. I thought that was ridiculous. Filipino superstition, I told myself. My lola used to say the same things. Old wives' tales for old people. The first week was uneventful. Pour concrete, lay rebar, watch the moon rise over the cane field, go home at sunrise. I started to relax. I started to forget the rules Mang Ramon gave me. It was the second Friday when I broke the first one. I was carrying a load of hollow blocks near midnight, sweating, exhausted, and out of habit, just out of stupid, ordinary habit, I started whistling. Some old OPM song my father used to hum. 3 notes in, Mang Boy grabbed my arm so hard it left a bruise. "Tumigil ka," he hissed. "Stop." His eyes weren't on me. They were on the tree line behind me. I turned around. Nothing was there, just the dark shape of the Balete tree against a sky with no moon that night. Clouds thick and low. But the air had changed. I want you to understand this clearly. The temperature dropped so fast, I could see my own breath, in a country where it never gets cold enough for that. Not once in my life had I seen my breath outdoors in the Philippines, until that exact moment. We didn't speak about it. We just worked faster. The second rule I broke wasn't really my fault, or that's what I told myself afterward, lying awake at 4 in the morning trying to make sense of it. We were digging a trench near the tree line for a drainage pipe. Mang Ramon wasn't on site that night. He'd gone home early for his daughter's birthday. It was just me, Mang Boy, and a younger guy named Jepoy, who'd started the same week I did. Jepoy didn't know the rules. Nobody had told him. I should have told him. I didn't. He swung his shovel into the soil near the roots of the Balete tree without a word of apology, without tabi-tabi po, without anything at all. Just dug right in like it was any patch of dirt in the world. The shovel struck something that wasn't rock and wasn't root. It made a sound I can only describe as wet. A thick, hollow, wet sound, like striking the side of something alive. Jepoy froze. We all froze. Then from inside the hole came a smell. Not rot exactly. Something mineral and sour like old blood left too long in the sun. Mang Boy grabbed Jepoy's collar and physically dragged him backward from the trench, whispering something I couldn't fully hear. But I caught 2 words. Sigbin. I asked him later what a sigbin was. He told me it was something that walked backward, with its head low between its legs, that came out at night to drink from shadows. He said it the way you'd describe a stray dog, matter of fact, like it was simply part of the landscape, the way mosquitoes were part of the landscape, the way heat was part of the landscape. I didn't sleep that day. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard that wet sound. The third night was the one that ended everything for me. It was almost 3 in the morning. Jepoy and I were alone near the south end of the site, hauling lumber, while Mang Boy worked the cement mixer 50 meters away, close enough to see, but too far to hear over the noise of the machine. That's when I heard my name, clear, close, a voice that sounded almost exactly like Jepoy's, calling from somewhere behind the stacked lumber, where I knew, with absolute certainty, that Jepoy could not be standing, because Jepoy was right next to me, both hands full of 2x4s, his face already going pale. He heard it too. The voice called my name a second time, and I am not ashamed to tell you that every cell in my body wanted to turn and answer it. There was a pull to that voice, a warmth in it, almost a kindness, like an old friend calling you home for dinner. My mouth actually opened. I felt the shape of a response forming on my tongue. Jepoy grabbed my wrist before a single sound came out. "Huog," he whispered. "Don't." We stood there frozen, lumber still balanced in our arms, while that voice called my name a third time, a fourth time, each call closer to the stack of wood, each one sounding less and less like Jepoy, and more like something trying very hard to remember what Jepoy's voice sounded like, and getting small details wrong each time. The pitch climbing, the rhythm slightly off, like a recording played by something that had never actually heard a human voice before, only studied it. Then it stopped. The silence after was worse than the calling had been. We didn't run. I want to be honest about that, because running feels like the natural thing to say in a story like this. But we didn't run. We walked, fast, stiff-backed, not looking behind us, all the way to where Mang Boy stood by the cement mixer with an expression that told me he already knew exactly what had just happened, 50 meters away in the dark. He didn't ask. He just nodded once, like a man confirming something he already suspected, and told us to go home early. I never finished that contract. I called in the next day and told Mang Ramon I'd found work somewhere else. He didn't argue. He didn't ask why. He just said very quietly, "Mabuti." Good. I found out months later, from a cousin who still works construction in that area, that the project was eventually finished, but the foundation line near the tree was moved one more time, another 4 meters. Nobody from the company ever explained why, on paper. Internally, everyone on that crew understood exactly why, and nobody needed it explained twice. I think about Mang Ramon's 3 rules more than I'd like to admit. Never whistle after dark. Always ask permission before disturbing the unseen. And if something calls your name twice, let the silence answer for you. I used to think these were old wives' tales, stories for children, stories for villages, stories that modern Filipinos had outgrown, the way we outgrow ghost stories told over candlelight during a brownout. I don't think that anymore, because some nights, even now, in my apartment in the city, far from any sugarcane field, far from any Balete Tree, I'll hear someone call my name from another room, and I never ever answer on the second call. If you like the video, remember to like and subscribe for more, and hit the bell for notifications.